guys, this is Carl the Shark Shuckert. You're here for another episode of Shark Bites TV. Very excited to have you here on Amazon Prime. So we're coming at you from TNC, Traffic and Conversions here in San Diego, and I ran into my friend here, Thomas Bell. He's the owner, CEO, I believe, of ViralStyle, which is a print-on-demand powerhouse in that industry. He's done some phenomenal things that has literally taken his business to next levels, and I think that he has a lot of nuggets and stuff that we could mine out of him that kind of brought him in the situation where a lot of us want to be or we're heading in the direction of. So without further ado, thanks for being on our show. Really appreciate it.
I appreciate it, man. It's good to run into you.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah, cool, man. Well, I want to kind of ask you some questions. Some of them might be a little bit personal, kind of dive in and just really get out the nitty-gritty stuff, because I think that that's like, there's lessons and stuff in there, that we all can share. First off, like when did you first start getting into when did you know you had a entrepreneurship type mindset?
I actually didn't know. It was one of those things, we talked briefly about that before, but basically it was just timing for me. When I was 21, I had a kid. So when I was 20, going into it, I kind of realized I had this now or never moment. I got this little window of time to kind of figure out what I'm doing, or I just got to go get a job. So at that time, I was getting into real estate and ended up flipping a house for the first time when I was 21. And I kind of realized that kind of set me up for the rest of my life, knowing that I could pretty much do anything that I want, because it was kind of unheard of for somebody my age to do something like that. And it kind of made a name for myself. And since then I've moved into internet marketing, and it's kind of the same game. I mean, everybody just is trying to be the best, right? So
yeah. When did so you flipped your first house at 21
years old.
That's amazing. First of all, I know I didn't at 21, but that's cool. So that kind of gave you maybe the first taste of entrepreneurship a little bit.
Yeah.
Because you bought something that you owned, and then
actually the way we did
you
it,
make money off of it.
Well, we didn't actually buy anything. The way that I was doing it was I was actually flipping the contracts. So we're not going to get into that.
No,
but
okay.
Basically, cool. It was one of those things where I could put work effort into it, and then I was able to make a commission on the back end by finding people that actually bought houses.
Oh, cool.
And then flipping the contract to them. But so it was definitely a entrepreneurial get in what you get out, or get out what you put in. So yeah, first time actually doing stuff on my own, and then I was able to generate my own living and stuff like that.
How did you
So
run that?
there was a company back then, and this kind of all circles back to as well. It was a company called Nouveau Riche. It was a a real estate investing college, and my older brother got involved in it, and I actually went to one of the seminars and kind of learned about real estate, and I realized there was a lot of money in it, and I'm like, well, this is something I could probably get into. And 2008 happened, and everybody's houses went under. My parents were included in that, and I realized there's an opportunity to make money on my parents' foreclosure, and that's when I started really learning about it. And I ended up finding somebody in the area after calling around and going to investing meetings and stuff that kind of took me under his wing and showed me how to find leads. And then I actually did all the cold calling and sitting at people's tables and offering cash that I didn't have for houses and putting them under contract and stuff like that. So that's kind of how it happened.
Beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful, yeah. That's didn't know that. That's pretty cool, actually. Yeah. And I know who Nouveau Riche is, and good friends with Chris and
right. That was what I was saying. It comes right back around. One of our friends, Chris Record, is partnered with the guy who did Nouveau Riche, and now they have Tech Academics, and it's just weird that all happened. And
yeah, well, maybe it all happened. Definitely seems like kind of happened for a reason. So what was your next step after that? So 2008 happened. It's kind of the real estate market crashed, unfortunately, but fortunately, probably a blessing in disguise for a lot of people, because it kind of drove them into other markets.
Yeah. So basically, I did that for about 4 or 5 years, and at the time I knew friends that were doing internet marketing for real estate as well.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but how to kind of back up too? Were you affected by 2008?
No, I was too young.
Okay.
I mean, I was 20. So I didn't really have any real estate or anything like that. I mean, my parents obviously were affected, which subsequently affected me, but no, I didn't really have any financial disaster or anything like that then. But I met some people that were doing internet marketing for the real estate niche. They were flipping houses, but they were also selling courses on how to flip houses. It was actually the first time I came to the Traffic and Conversion Summit. It was like 5 years ago with them. I wasn't even in internet marketing at the time, had no interest in it, whatever, but I did want to do coaching for real estate, and I kind of got into that. I did a lot of videos. They're still on YouTube. You can look them up. I'm like 22, 23 years old now, running around in a car and iMovie the cuts together, and
cool.
had my own thing. And then for I did that till about 2013. And then one day, one of my friends was building he started building Facebook fan pages, and he was selling like little bracelets and like random stuff, and then ended up one time selling t-shirt, and he made like $20,000 on this t-shirt after he built this huge page. And I'm like, whoa, how did that happen? And I had actually started a t-shirt company a couple years prior to that, because I was always looking for something else. Like the real estate thing was good, but it was always very volatile. Like I would have really good month, really bad month, whatever.
And peaks and valleys, and spiky income.
So I actually started a company called Ready to Rage. It was based on EDM trend that was happening in like 2012. Everybody was everything was going nuts about EDM. And I was going to festivals, and I saw everybody was wearing these crazy shirts, and I'm like, somebody's selling these to them. There's a market here for this. And I was in that scene. So I ended up creating a couple t-shirts, and I ended up going up the way that the thing that we solved is I ended up having to buy the supplies up front. I had to guess how many sizes I'd need, like how many people wear smalls versus larges, the styles, like tank tops or regular tees or whatever, the colors, what colors am I going to offer, that kind of stuff. But buy it up front, had to get cheap enough, like enough volume where I could buy it cheap enough where I could actually make money. Then I had to find somebody to print it. Then I had all this inventory, and I had to figure out how to market it and sell it and still make money. It was a backwards system. And so I had sold some, but it wasn't a cash flowing business. I had to get back into real estate. So after that, when I saw my buddy sell that shirt, I realized, how did he do that? And at the time, there was this company, is our competitor now, actually. They had kind of solved that. They kind of reversed it, where you could create and sell the products first, and then buy only what you need in volume and whatever.
Sell first, and then supply second.
Yes, exactly. So they'd kind of figured that out, and when I found that out, I kind of started dabbling into it again, and I ended up becoming the top seller on that site. And I sold like 150,000 units in about 4 months.
Wow.
Profited like $2 million, and went to them and was like, hey, this is what I need for my business to continue to sell for you guys and whatever. And at the time, they were in a transition period. They just raised money and whatever, and basically couldn't move fast enough for us. So we, out of necessity, had to create ViralStyle for ourselves. And at the time, we were kind of known in the industry at that point for being top sellers, and they knew that we were going to go off and do our own thing, and people started gaining interest, and we realized there's an opportunity here to take some market share. And that's pretty much how it happened.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, that industry is such a cool industry too. You talk about take someone that's young and just willing to do the work of placing ads and coming up with good graphics and stuff that peak in certain industries.
Sure.
Like you said, EDM was really hot at the time and still is.
Yeah.
And you kind of were able to capitalize on that market with that print-on-demand industry, and that really anybody can do this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing was, back 2013, 2014, Facebook marketing, making money on Facebook was such a new thing still.
Right.
And we were kind of pioneering that in a way, where we realized the plethora of data that Facebook actually has about people, and that you could target them by things they really are passionate about, and that you were never able to do that before. And it kind of opened the doors to this direct response marketing that continues to this day, as you can see on all the e-commerce brands and stuff like that. They use Facebook as the medium for really connecting with their audience. And when we realized that that's what we could do, we became, and t-shirts are such an entry-level product that it's an impulse buy.
Right.
So people are willing to spend $20 on something they like without even questioning it. Even if they wear it once or they get a laugh out of it, that's an impulse buy for sure. So it became a really good.
It's unique and impulsive.
Right, yeah, but it also
Disruptive.
people were able to learn Facebook marketing by doing the T-shirt sales, and they've whether they stayed on ViralStyle or not, they've figured out, they've learned a internet marketing business that they can take anywhere. So it was very cool.
Yeah, that's a great point actually, because I've noticed that now some of the best Facebook marketers come from ecom, or they know, like, ecom is what paved and paid for their way to understand how to market on Facebook. Facebook being the behemoth it is with data and huge market shares in there, and obviously there's other places for traffic. Ultimately, you can put them onto your landing page. So that's cool, because everybody I talk to, everybody has like this at your age, they struggle, and it doesn't seem like you really had as much of a struggle. There's a lot of. Let's talk about the struggle, man. Let's get into it.
I mean, I was the degenerate. I mean, I just.
Well, where did it spawn from then? Like, there was a point in your life where you had to have been fed up, maybe? Or
it was my son was born.
Your son was born.
So that was kind of like the turning point in my life. I mean, you kind of saved my life in a way. I mean, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I was in and out of jail. It was nothing like really bad, but like driving under the influence and whatever, and then subsequent arrests after that. But I mean, in general, that just you get down that path, you get stuck in the system, you get stuck in that way, and things happen, and you're young and you're stupid, and then it gets out of hand. And then at a certain point, like when I realized it was like, ready or not, I'm gonna have a child. I kind of had this moment where I was like, I need to figure this out, if I really want to provide, and that's kind of how it worked for me. So
wow. So the necessity thing kind of kicked back in. Like, you had a kid, and then it was an awakening. Then
absolutely.
Say. And then transition to, let's take the same energy I'm doing to be a kind of a mess up in life, and then let's take the same energy and put it towards something positive that's making a greater difference. Your company literally is making a difference for people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. There's thousands of sellers around the world that make a living on our site, and I traveled to Vietnam twice last year to go and visit people over there. This is the craziest thing ever. We have this like huge user base in the Southeast Asia that they're just really good marketers, and they shot out as like some of our best marketers that we have on the site. And so I went over to visit the country and did like a tour of like 3 major cities there, and just being able to do that and seeing like how I've affected their lives and have them provide for their families and stuff. It's just really cool. It's like, I'm not really like one to be like a celebrity, but I felt like one over there in a way. It was very cool. They're awesome people, and it's nice to see that. So
I've always wanted to go to Vietnam and check it out. It's beautiful, and
it's a nice country. I mean, the people are really nice. I never had any problems. It's pretty wild. It's a culture shock, but it's nice. I like it.
Cool, man. Yeah. I've heard some stories too that there's some interesting marketers there, but it seems like some of them have kind of even pioneered some different marketing strategies and stuff like that there, because of their own personal necessities, I guess, in that sense. Seems like that's the necessity is a good one. I think that's a good rule or a good lesson out of this, is that sometimes putting yourself in a position where you're in a position to where necessity kicks in, and it's like ultimate drives you. Having a child, for sure. I have a kid too, so I understand like having our kid definitely changed my life in such a way, because I want to be like I want to do better than my parents did. I guess maybe that's what everybody does. It's cliche, but I really do. I really want to provide something amazing for them and give them the type of life they want, but also teach them how to respect it too.
Yep.
So now with the success that you've had, how has there been some things that like, how do you handle having success, I should say, at even a young age, or how do you handle it? Because there's definitely, you're now exposed to more,
I mean, handling the money, or
handling making more money, handling, access. I know it's a dream to have more money too.
I mean,
but
honestly, you just learn as you go.
Yeah.
There's no like, easy, or it's not like it's hard, but I still don't know everything. I mean, even taxes and stuff, that's not something that I have ever really been able to do. Like, so luckily I have enough money to like pay somebody to do it for me and like learn all this stuff and like pay back taxes I didn't even know I had. Like that, like having the means to do that, like, is good. But that kind of stuff, it just comes with the territory. And obviously it opens up your life to be able to do more things, obviously, too, and just keeping it under control. Basically just making sure that you don't let it get ahead of you. Don't spend over your means, that kind of stuff. Everything else kind of falls
you have like
into
a
place.
budget that you kind of have for yourself, or
not really?
No?
I mean, I'm not really like a flashy person in general, but I like this is like the most expensive thing I bought. I mean, it's just a watch that I've always wanted, but in general, like I'm just not like a big spender. So I've been able to, and I also kind of learned from the past, like when I was doing real estate, I did make good money, but I was also spending over my means, and then I would get into a point where I was going month to month, and I'm like, what am I even doing real estate for if I can't like keep money, like,
right?
So that was a learning lesson.
More.
Yeah, I mean, it's just comes with territory.
Yeah. What would you say was probably one of the best pieces of advice you've ever been given that's you think about, or it helps you with your business today, or personally even?
I don't know, man. That's a difficult
You probably have
one.
a lot of advice.
I mean, I never really had any like mentors, like solid mentors growing up, where they were just like philosophical, like where I could take one, sentence that like really shaped my life. I wish I could say that.
Or have you given anybody advice do you think that's helped them? Or is there a certain rule?
The main advice that I would give is, always look for opportunities, because you never know what's going to like present itself, and if you don't have the confidence to pursue an opportunity, you'll never be successful. Because if I would have just decided, I'm going to take that job, or if I decided that, real estate was too hard, or like I see opportunities and it gets me excited because I can see ways to monetize things and stuff like that. Like when I went to EDM, I'm having a great time at this festival, and all I keep thinking about is
how can I monetize it?
Look at these T-shirts I could sell. Like who's making money off of that, and if you can figure out how to change your mind into that way of thinking, something will click, and then you'll find something that will be easier for you to pursue, rather than like going and buying the next course or whatever it is. And that's kind of like the most advice I could give, I guess.
Cool. No, that's a great piece of advice. I think look for the opportunities, and look at things like a marketer looks at things, or get yourself in the mindset of a marketer. So when you go places, you see the markets, and then you start thinking about how can I monetize inside those markets. So fantastic piece of advice, really. All right. Well, a couple other things I guess we could really get into, which would be good, is there like a book? Is there a book that you read that's really good?
That is one thing I did do.
Okay.
So when I was getting into real estate, they recommended books, and I'm going to name off the ones that probably a lot of people know about, which is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Like, I did a lot of self-help book reading while I was getting into that. When I was gearing myself into that entrepreneurial mindset, because I kind of needed to. So I would definitely recommend at least those three. I think I can think of another one. There's 42 Laws of Power. I think that's
48 Laws?
48.
Yeah. Have you read the 50th?
I heard that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's from 50 Cent, right?
50 Cent and the writer of the 48 Laws.
50th Law, something like that.
Yeah, the writer of the 48 Laws of Power, something Green, I forgot his first name, but it's Green. He wrote that book, and he interviewed 50 Cent for that 50th Law, and it's that is a good book I think you should read, because it's kind of like a little bit maybe like your story too, but like The Hustler. It's like the hustler that was on the street selling drugs, out of necessity.
Sure.
And was squeezing dollars out of a penny because like people were dirt poor there, so they had to like hustle all day long to make money. So it was that same type of mindset, you know, looking and finding a market somewhere too.
Yeah, I used to read a lot, but I recently haven't. So I definitely should get back into that. I always
I do audiobooks.
I tried it.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
It doesn't really work for me. I have to like sit there and unless I'm like doing some long road trip or something, which I don't do anymore. But we used to do that when I was a kid. But
all my flights, you know, we're always traveling to events and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, I would read on the plane for sure. I've definitely, and I still got books that I need to read at my house that I bought that I was like, oh, I want to read that, and then I don't do it. You know, so I think I got this from Bill Gates, but he said that he doesn't read a book unless he finishes it. Like he doesn't like he intends to finish
it.
Every book. And when I read something like that from him, I'm like, yeah, that's probably the way I should be too. But then I never ended up reading the books. So it kind of.
I feel the same way. I always pick up books and set them down really fast sometimes, and then I never pick them back up. And I'm like, I want to get to that book.
Yeah.
Because there's a book that someone recommended to me, Napoleon Hill wrote, called The Success Secret. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I think it's called The Success. It was written in like 1952 or something like that. There's an original version, which is harder to get. Everybody I've talked to said everything is seeded from that book. You know, all of even Think and Grow Rich was seeded from that book. So I always wanted to finish that book, and it sits on my table, but it's like it's hard for me to get to it. So I totally relate to that. I think everybody else probably relates to that as well. Cool, man. Well, let's talk a little bit more about your business. You own ViralStyle. It's changed a lot of lives all over the world. It's print on demand. Tell us about some of the products you guys offer and where you see the market going.
Yeah, so we started with t-shirts and apparel. So, you know, t-shirts, hoodies, long sleeves, v-necks, women's apparel, whatever. And basically they can create and sell their designs on whatever they want. So we'll offer them a sales page that offers all the sizes, all the colors you chose, all the styles that you offered. And it's optimized for sales, mobile and web. So when people actually come and purchase the products, they're actually pre-ordering the products. So what we do it's campaign based. So what a campaign is it's a length of time that the campaign is open. So it's let's say it's a 7-day campaign. So within those 7 days, all the purchases are actually pre-orders. At the end of the campaign, when the timer runs out, we actually have like a clock counting down. It's kind of a scarcity thing. And when the campaign ends, we actually batch out the order all at once, goes to the supplier, printer, directly to their customers. The marketers never actually see the products, and we actually handle all the customer service and everything on the back end. So all they're worried about is the base cost that we give them. So let's say a t-shirt. So a regular t-shirt with like a one color design on it, our base cost is like $8 out the door. So anything they sell for that shirt for over like $20, they'll make $12 profit per shirt. And the marketers can now take that margin to Facebook and say, all right, I have a $12 margin here. I need to get, customer, my CPA, cost per acquisition, under $12. And if they can start selling shirts at $6 CPA, now they're doubling their money. So they'll spend that all day. So it's really a lot about Facebook marketing and targeting and how they present the ads and stuff like that. But when we started the company, we knew we were going to get outside of just apparel. So that's why we called it Style. So we were originally going to be Viral Tees, and we decided to change that to ViralStyle because we knew eventually we would be offering more products, and we started doing that. Now we offer anything from mugs to sublimation necklaces. Sublimation is a type of heat transfer printing that you use for like mugs, and we have these little pendants for jewelry, and we do clocks now, and laptop sleeves.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's actually a really good selling product, and it's kind of one of those things that surprised me. But we do a lot of cool products. I think we got like 50 products now. We're going to continue to expand that the product line as we continue to develop the site. So
cool. That's pretty cool. Such a cool company. I know you guys have like training, and you guys have all kinds of stuff on your site for a new user, medium user, probably even advanced. Where can people find you? I know it's ViralStyle.com.
Yeah, so ViralStyle.com is the actual site. We have the ViralStyle Academy, which is it's a training hub. Basically, is actually a course that we have the 101 course and the 102 course out right now, which is the beginner and intermediate level. And it's actually taught by one of our top sellers of all time. His name's Luke Stassi. He's done over $1 million on our site, and he's a very he's got a good teaching voice. He's very thorough in the way he explains things, and it's very easy to follow. And it's definitely helped with,
and it's
with
free,
new
right?
users. And it's free. Yep. So all you have to do is have an account with ViralStyle, then you can join the academy and go through that course. There's a lot of good nuggets in there. I mean, he's a really good marketer. So
cool.
Yep.
Cool. Well, Thomas, it was a pleasure. Thanks so much for doing our show.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Boom.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thank you for being the viewer of SharkBites.tv. Without you, there would be no us. So I'm very excited again to have you guys here on Amazon Prime finally, and we'll see you guys on the next one. This is Carl the Shark Sugar signing off.